Dhamma Devameva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Dripa Navya Ganga Banga Janma Karma Dashitam Dripa Navya Ganga Banga Janma Karma Darshitam Srinivasa Vasadanya Namarasa Harshitam Srinivasa Vasadanya Namarasa Harshitam Sri Hari Priyesha Puja Adi Sachi Kundaram Sri Hari Priyesha Puja Adi Sachi Purandaram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Sri Sachidu Lala Balya Bala Sangha Chanchalam Sri Sachidu Lala Balya Bala Sangha Chanchalam Kumara Sarva Shastra Dakshatartha Mangalam Kumara Sarva Shastra Dakshatartha Mangalam Chatra Sangha Ranga Digji Vishudarpa Samharam Chatra Sangha Ranga Digvi Vishudarpa Angaram Madama Devameva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Madama Devameva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Vajrapatra Sarameya Sarpasanga Kelanam Vajrapatra Sarameya Sarpasanga Kelanam Skandavahi Chauratirtha Viprachitra Lilanam Skandavahi Chauratirtha Viprachitra Lilanam Krishna Nama Matra Balya Upashanti Shokaram Krishna Nama Matra Balya Upashanti Shokaram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Snana Ganga Valibala Sangaranga Kelanam Snana Ganga Valibala Sangaranga Kelanam Valikadi Parihasya Bhangibalya Lilanam Valikadi Parihasya Bhangibalya Lilanam Hutatarka Chakra Shiksha Adivada Tatparam Hutatarka Chakra Shiksha Adivada Tatparam Prema Devameva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Srinimai Panditeti Namadesha Vanditam Srinimai Panditeti Namadesha Vanditam Navyatarka Dakshalasha Gambidamba Kanditam Navyatarka Dakshalasha Gambidamba Kanditam Stapitartha Kanda Kanda Kanditartha Sambaram Stapitartha Kanda Kanda Kanditartha Sambaram Prema Dhana Deva Divishu Bhashitam Lokaganga Vandanaka Divishu Bhashitam Nastalankaritaridosa Kargitata Dushitam Yatyalankritaridosa Kargitata Dushitam Vashtayukti Rudha Buddhi Datadima Davaram Vashtayukti Rudha Buddhi Datadima Davaram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Vritti Tipanishta Shuklavachan Adhutam Vritti Tipanishta Adhutam Dhatumatra Krishna Shakti Sarva Vishwa Sambritam Dhatumatra Krishna Shakti Sarva Vishwa Sambritam Rudha Buddhi Panditoga Nanya Yukti Nidharam Rudha Buddhi Panditoga Nidharam Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Krishna Jisti Pata Hetu Shadakata Yojanam Krishna Jisti Pata Hetu Shadakata Yojanam Uttavada Shringalaika Viti Krishna Vikshana Uttavada Shringalaika Viti Krishna Vikshana Stula Shukshma Mula Lakshya Krishna Shokya Sambaram Stula Shukshma Khataram Chatra Sangha Hastatala Kirtanadya Sancharam Chatra Sangha Hastatala Kirtanadya Sancharam Krishna Nama Sidhu Sindhu Magna Diksha Racharam Krishna Nama Sidhu Sindhu Magna Diksha Racharam Prema Dhana Deva Numi Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Arya Dharma Palalabdha Diksha Krishna Kirtanam Arya Dharma Palalabdha Diksha Krishna Kirtanam Laksha Laksha Bhakta Gita Vadya Divya Nartanam Laksha Laksha Bhakta Vadya Divya Nartanam Dharma Karma Nasha Dashu Dushta Dushkri Udaram Dharma Karma Nasha Dashu Dushta Dushkri Udaram Prema Dhana Deva Numi Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Numi Gaura Sundaram Necha Raja Nama Badha Bhakta Biti Banjanam Necha Raja Nama Badha Bhakta Biti Banjanam Laksha Laksha Dipanaisha Uti Kanta Kirtanam Laksha Laksha Dipanaisha Uti Kanta Kirtanam Sri Mridanga Talavadya Nritya Kaji Nishtaram Sri Mridanga Talavadya Nritya Kaji Nishtaram Prema Dhana Deva Numi Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Numi Gaura Sundaram Haribol Laksha Lokan Ashubhasha Ashakesha Kartanam Laksha Lokan Ashubhasha Ashakesha Kartanam Kuti Kanta Krishna Kirtan Adya Danda Dharanam Kuti Kanta Krishna Kirtan Adya Danda Dharanam Nyasi Vesha Sarvadesha Ahutasha Kataram Nyasi Vesha Sarvadesha Ahutasha Kataram Prema Dhana Deva Numi Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Numi Gaura Sundaram Shri Atisha Bhaktavesha Radha Desha Charanam Shri Atisha Bhaktavesha Radha Desha Charanam Krishna Chaitanya Krishna Nama Jiva Karanam Krishna Chaitanya Krishna Nama Jiva Karanam Bhava Vibra Atma Mata Davamana Budaram Bhava Vibra Atma Mata Davamana Budaram Prema Dhana Deva Nami Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Nami Gaura Sri Gadadha Radi Nitya Nanda Sangha Vardhanam Sri Gadadha Radi Nitya Nanda Sangha Vardhanam Advayakya Bhaktamukya Vanchitata Sadhanam Advayakya Bhaktamukya Vanchitata Sadhanam Kshetravasa Savilasa Matritosha Tatparam Kshetravasa Savilasa Matritosha Tatparam Prema Dhana Deva Nami Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Nami Gaura Sundaram Nyasi Raja Nila Shaila Vasa Sarva Bhomapam Nyasi Raja Nila Shaila Vasa Sarva Bhomapam Dakshinatya Tita Jata Bhakta Kalpa Padapam Dakshinatya Tita Jata Bhakta Kalpa Padapam Rama Mega Raga Bhakti Vishti Shakti Sancharam Rama Mega Raga Bhakti Vishti Shakti Sancharam Prema Dhana Deva Nami Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Nami Gaura Sundaram Ashta Sarva Bhumavada Navyathartha Shankaram Vashta Sarva Bhumavada Navyathartha Shankaram Vashta Tadvi Vardavada Danaviya Damavam Vashta Tadvi Vardavada Danaviya Damvaram Darshikarta Sarva Shastra Krishna Bhakti Mandiram Darshikarta Sarva Shastra Bhakti Mandiram Prema Dhana Deva Nami Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Nami Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhama Divya Dirga Deha Deva Nanditam Prema Dhama Divya Dirga Deha Deva Nanditam Himakanja Kunjanindi Anti Chandra Van Divya Bhava Mandiram Namagana Nritya Navya Divya Bhava Mandiram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Krishna 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 Nama Kirtanam Krishna 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 Nama Kirtanam Rama Rama Gana Ramya Divya Chandra Nartanam Rama Rama Gana Ramya Divya Chandra Nartanam Yatra Tatra Krishna Nama Dana Loka Nishtaram Yatra Tatra Krishna Nama Dana Loka Nishtaram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Godavarya Vamatira Ramananda Samvadam Godavarya Vamatira Ramananda Samvadam Jnana Karma Mukta Marma Raga Bhakti Sampadam Jnana Karma Mukta Marma Raga Bhakti Sampadam Harakiya Kanta Krishna Bhava Seva Nakaram Harakiya Kanta Krishna Bhava Seva Nakaram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Dasya Sakya Vatsya Kanta Devanota Rotaram Dasya Sakya Vatsya Kanta Devanota Rotaram Shristapara Kiyaradhi Angri Bhakti Sundaram Shristapara Kiyaradhi Angri Bhakti Sundaram Sri Raja Swa Siddha Divya Kama Krishna Tatparam Sri Raja Swa Siddha Divya Kama Krishna Tatparam Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Shanta Mukta Vitya Tripta Mitra Mata Darshitam Shanta Mukta Vitya Tripta Mitra Mata Darshitam Snigdha Mugdha Shista Mishta Shusta Kunta Harshitam Snigdha Mugdha Shista Mishta Shusta Kunta Harshitam Tantra Mukta Ramya Raga Sarva Seva Notaram Tantra Mukta Ramya Raga Seva Notaram Prema Dhana Atmanavya Tattvadivya Raibhagya Darshitam Atmanavya Tattvadivya Raibhagya Darshitam Shamagopa Radhikapta Gupta Gupta Chestitam Shamagopa Gupta Gupta Chestitam Muchitangri Ramaraya Bodhitatma Chintaram Muchitangri Ramaraya Bodhitatma Chintaram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Nashta Kushta Urma Vipra Rupa Bhakti Toshanam Nashta Kushta Urma Vipra Rupa Bhakti Toshanam Amadasa Vipramoha Mukta Bhakta Poshanam Amadasa Vipramoha Mukta Bhakta Poshanam Kala Krishna Dasa Mukta Bhaktatari Pinjaram Kala Krishna Dasa Mukta Bhaktatari Pinjaram Prema Dhana Deva Neva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Neva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Ranganatha Bhatta Bhakti Tushta Bhangi Bhashanam Ranganatha Bhatta Bhakti Tushta Bhangi Bhashanam Lakshmyagamya Krishna Rasa Gopikaika Poshanam Lakshmyagamya Krishna Rasa Gopikaika Poshanam Lakshmyabhishta Krishna Shisha Sadhya Sadhan Akaram Lakshmyabhishta Krishna Shisha Sadhya Sadhan Akaram Prema Dhana Deva Neva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Neva Nomi Gaura Sundaram. Mayapur, could you run and get the book from Anand for me? So, those were the first 28 verses which we covered in the last 4 nights. And tonight we'll do another 7 verses and we'll read the translations also. Actually, we'll read the translations first and then we will sing those 7 verses. So, this is text number 29, right? So, talking about Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, his Leela. He is, at this point, he is touring South India. The last 3 or 4 verses were all brief accounts of some of his pastimes in South India. The last one was at Ranganath temple, Rangakshetra. So now he gave his devotee the Brahma Samhita. Brahma Samhita is the famous scripture which is full of the conclusions of devotion to Lord Krishna. He lovingly sang the lyrical verses which depict Brajalila from another book, the Krishna Karnamritam, which was composed by the South Indian poet Sri Bilvamangal Thakur. I didn't know he was South Indian also. Of course, the Brahma Samhita was composed by the first created being, Lord Brahma, the architect of the universe. He got the darshan of Krishna's pastimes in Goloka, and he wrote Sri Brahma Samhita. Actually, the whole Brahma Samhita is not available. This is what Lord Caitanya found was only the 5th chapter. The 5th chapter. Nonetheless, that Lord Caitanya took that with him and gave it to the devotees, and even today that Brahma Samhita is published and sung by all devotees of Krishna. Next, King Prataparudra, that is the king of Orissa, he worshipped his lotus feet by bowing down and placing them on his head. Imagine that, a king is putting the feet of a sannyasi on his head. That is why the sannyasis, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was the first person to begin calling sannyasis Maharaj. He says, because they are the real kings. They who control their senses, they are the real kings. If one cannot control his senses, even if he is a king, he is not worthy of being called king. Of course, King Prataparudra was actually a great devotee of Lord Jagannath. He was the ruler of this city of Jagannath Puri, which has probably the oldest functioning temple in India. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went there, and every year he would celebrate the Rath Yatra festival with his devotees. So, this king, he very much desired to get a darshan of Lord Chaitanya, to get to speak with him. So, I sing with joy the unending glories of my golden Lord Gaurasundar, the beautiful, the divine abode of pure love. It's the last sentence in each verse. Text number 30. Surrounded by devotees absorbed in Sankirtan, in front of the chariots. This is Rath Yatra he's talking about. He appeared as the divine and wonderful Nataraja, the king of all dancers. Sometimes Lord Shiva is also called Nataraj. Astounding all the journeying pilgrims and the friends and relatives of King Prataparudra, thus filling their hearts with wonder. By his potency, the natural purport of the pastime of Lord Jagannath's chariot ride to Gundicha was manifested in the poem composed by Srila Rupa Goswami, where he sings, Priya Soyam Bipinaya Sprihayati. All glories to my golden Lord, Gaur Sundar, the beautiful and the divine abode of pure love. Every year, all the devotees from Bengal would come to Jagannath Puri for the Rath Yatra, which was a long distance in those days. There were no motor cars, there were no trains. They would come by boat and walk. Actually, hundreds of them, thousands of them, they would come from Bengal every year because Lord Caitanya was there. And to see him dancing in front of the cart of Lord Jagannath was... there's what you call deeper descriptions of that in the Caitanya Charitamrita. Here, the author is just mentioning that how he filled the hearts of the pilgrims with wonder by his dancing. Text number 31.
Can you say something about his dancing? The exhibition of...
His dancing was actually a manifestation of his ecstasy due to chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And so it was very captivating for everyone. And it is described in the Caitanya Charitamrita that sometimes in his dancing he had organized at the start of the procession, how many groups? 7? 7 groups, 7 kirtan groups, and each group had, I think, 2 mridangas and singers, backup singers and dancers. And he was choreographing the whole thing. And at a certain point in the parade, in the procession, as the kirtan was going, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifested 7 forms of himself, so he could be in each kirtan group at the same time. Just like in Krishna Lila, in the Rasa Lila dance, it's described that Krishna expanded himself so he could be with each gopi and do that dancing, the rasa dance. And all the gopis thought that Krishna is only with me. But he was simultaneously with all of them. It's like in Mathura, not Mathura, Dwarka. We know Krishna had 16,108 queens, and he had a palace for all of them. And Prabhupada said, but it's not that the queens had to wait so many nights before they can see him. He expanded to be with each one of them and satisfied them. And Narad Muni, the great sage, he was curious, he wanted to see how Krishna is doing this. And he went, and every palace he went to, Krishna and his queen would greet him as if they had seen him for the first time. It wasn't like I just saw you in the other palace. No. They received him nicely, and Narada was just amazed. So this is our Krishna. He's unlimited. One time Prabhupada was lecturing and he spoke about this, and some person in the audience was like, he said, how can one person, one man have so many wives? 16,100. Prabhupada said, because he's not a man, he's God, and he's unlimited. He said 16,000 is nothing, he could have 16 million and satisfy them. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan, and therefore he showed by expanding himself. I forgot what is the name of that type of expansion, because there's different qualities, different grades of expansions of Krishna. Some are called Prakash. I can't remember them. There's so many things to remember. But so this type, the type of expansion that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did, so that he could be in each 7 kirtan groups simultaneously, is the same type of expansion that Krishna did with the gopis in the rasa dance. And it is said that not everybody could see that, or those who were very fortunate could see it. Those who were blessed, they could see it. And I believe the king, Raj Prataparuja, he saw it and he was astounded to see 7 forms of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing. And he mentioned it to someone. Who he mentioned it to? Maybe it's his Guru, Sarvabhauma, and his Guru said, oh, you are most fortunate to be able to see that. Just like in Bhagavad Gita, you know, in the battle of Kurukshetra, when Krishna showed his Virata Rupa, the universal form, to Arjuna, not everybody could see that. Krishna says, I am giving you the divine eyes so you could see this. And it was such a powerful, almost scary form that Arjuna, he got shaken up. He said, and he told Krishna, go back to the 2-handed form. Yeah. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed these are some of the things he did during the Ratha Yatra. So, text 31. Wonder-struck and overwhelmed by the Lord's genius, effulgence, and loving symptoms, King Prataparudra of Utkala gave up all previous religious conceptions and traditions, along with all sense of royal glory, heroism, and power, and then, with a single-minded craving for the Lord, the king threw himself before his lotus feet to be crowned with their dust. I sing with joy the unending glories of my golden Lord, Gaurasundara, the beautiful divine abode of pure love. This is such a wonderful pastime, that the king, how he you could say, cast aside all sense of his royal position. The king, with glory and power, heroism, and with a single-minded craving for the Lord, threw himself on the ground like a rod and was crowned by the dust of the lotus feet of Lord Caitanya. It is said that the Six Goswamis, Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyago Sri Jiva Gopalako, they had big positions in society, ministers in the government. And Srinivasa Acharya has written a wonderful song, Prayers to the Six Goswamis. It's in our songbook. And he said in one verse that they threw off all aristocracy, and as if it was insignificant. That was pretty significant. And they came and surrendered to Lord Caitanya. They had big jobs. They had so much wealth. It is described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that both Rupa and Goswami and Sanatana Goswami had so much. In those days, money was gold coins, not this paper dollars. Which is practically, what can you do with it? He said Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami had enough gold coins to fill a boat. You see? The king, he so much wanted to join Lord Caitanya. He wanted to get darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he first saw him. And he asked his guru, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He hadn't seen him yet. He had been out, defending his kingdom. And when he came back, he went to see his guru, or he had his guru come to see him, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And he said, I have heard that there's a young sannyasi in town, and he's causing quite a sensation. Tell me about him. And Sarvabhauma by then had already been converted, which is a wonderful pastime. I have to share it with you all, but not now, another time. Sarvabhauma, he was India's greatest logician. And he was the guru of the king. So the king says, what can you tell me about this sannyasi, Krishna Chaitanya? And Sarvabhauma said, well, for starters, he is Bhagavan. He's come right out and tell him. And so the king says, well, you are my guru. If you say so, I accept it. It must be so. And then he said, now, can you arrange a meeting with him? I want to talk with him. And the Sarvabhauma said, I'm sorry, Your Highness, but that's not going to happen. And the king said, what do you mean it's not going to happen? He said, he doesn't meet with kings. He doesn't meet with any worldly men. He's such a strict sannyasi. And the king said, but I am the king. He's in my city. Why I can't see him? He said, I'm just telling you, don't get your hopes up. He won't do it. The king said, come on, there must be something you can say to him to make him change his mind. He says, no one can change the mind of the Supreme Lord. you know? He said, all right, but I will try. So Sarvabhauma went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and told him, our king, Prataparuja, is a very nice devotee. He makes sure that the worship of Lord Jagannath in the temple is first class. You know, he's like really, he said he's a great devotee. He's not just an ordinary king. And he really wants to see you. Why don't you give him a little darshan? Mahaprabhu says, forget it. If I do that, people will think I'm bought and paid for by the king. You know? If the President of the United States is, it happens, you know, too much involved with the businessman, then people know, oh, he's bought and paid for. He will only see to their interests and not the interests of the people in general. But we have such presidents who don't even care. But as a sannyasi, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I cannot be seen to be mixing with a king. He said, the very thought of a king is repulsive to me. Such a strict sannyasi Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was. It says, Bhaktivinoda Thakur in one of his songs, Kali Kukura, he says, Grihi jana shikshaka nyasikula nayaka. He said, as a grihasta, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the ideal grihasta. He was like a hero to all grihastas. And as a sannyasi, he was also a hero to the sannyasis. He was so strict that even, he was only 24 years when he took sannyas. But the old sannyasis like Brahmananda, Bharti and others, these are like really, really powerful men, older men, sannyasis. They used to tremble when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came around. They were like, his standard of sannyas, his renunciation was unmatched. Nobody wanted to make a mistake around him. So he says, I'm not going to do it. I have to uphold religious principles and practice, so I cannot do that. So Sarvabhauma went back to the king and told him, I did my best, but he's not agreeing to meet with you. So the king is like, what? He can't understand why, Other devotees went on his behalf, Nityananda Prabhu and others. They went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and told him, look, the king is such a good devotee. Even the king told them, he says, if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu won't see me, then I might as well take my life. Either I'll take my life, or I'll just renounce the kingdom. Take off all these royal robes and I'll just live like a mendicant. And he meant it too. Because if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, there are many examples of kings who would, at a certain point in their life, would just walk away from the kingdom. Parikshit Maharaj was one. Bharat Maharaj, of whom India is named, Bharatvarsha, he did that. He just put the eldest son in charge and he leaves. So the king knew the histories of these great kings. They were called Raja Rishis. It's a combination of two words. Raja means king, and Rishi, saintly person. So those kings were called Raja Rishis. So this king, Prataparudra, he says, if I can't get the darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then this kingdom is no longer, I have no charm for it anymore. So the devotees went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and says, this king, this is what he's going to do if you don't... And he's a good king, powerful king. The state of Orissa is protected with him. Jagannath's temple is really looked after, managed in the best way. If he gives up the kingdom and leaves, who knows, the Muslims might come and take over. And they're pleading like this with Mahaprabhu, hoping he will change his mind. You know what Mahaprabhu said? I already told you, I cannot see a king. If you all bring this up again, I'm out of here. I'm going to leave Jagannath Puri and go on pilgrimage. And they all got afraid. They don't want Mahaprabhu to leave Puri. But Nityananda Prabhu came up with something that would pacify the king. He told the king, you have a son. Why don't you let us take the son? Mahaprabhu will see him. He won't see you, but he will, maybe your son. And the son represents the father. Right? He will be king one day. So they agreed to do that. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very kind to the prince. He thought people can't talk about this. And then he sent Nityananda Prabhu, took some of his clothes, his cloth, and gave it to the king. And the king began to worship those clothes, those garments, sannyas, dhoti and things like that. So that pacified him for a little while, but he still wants to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But he got the opportunity in the Rath Yatra festival. You all may know that in the parade, we've seen it in our Rath Yatra here. There's somebody sweeping the streets with a broom. And that was started by King Prataparudra. And he began to sweep the road before Lord Jagannath. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw that and thought, he's really sincere. A king sweeping the road before Lord Jagannath's chariot comes. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told him, when the cart gets to the Gundicha, the Rath Yatra ceremony festival in Puri lasts for 1 week. It's not just one day. They go from Puri and they up to Gundicha and they stay there. People camp out, they stay there for a week and then they come back down. So at that time, the Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told the king, Mahaprabhu, when he gets there, he will go into a garden to take a little rest. And while he's there, you go immediately. And Sarvabhauma coached the king what to do. He said, first of all, don't go dressed like a king. Just put on some regular dhoti and go. And he coached him. He says, you go and massage his legs, his feet, because he's from dancing. He could use a massage. And he told him, and while you're doing it, you should recite Haribol. Radha Nil Madhav Ki Jai. He told him, while he's doing that, while you're massaging his feet, you should chant the Gopi Gita. Gopi Gita is one chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam, where the gopis are singing songs to Krishna. He said, you chant these and see what happens. So the king went and he did as he was coached by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was like out sleeping, getting his massage, and when he heard this Gopi Gita, he just went into ecstasy. And he sat up and he says, who are you? He couldn't recognize it. His consciousness was, he was in like a trance, just from hearing those words. He said, who are you? You are the most magnanimous person. You have given me this nectar. And he embraced the king. So the king got his wishes fulfilled. And then after it's described here, he put his head on the ground and, got the dust from the feet of Mahaprabhu. So, text number 32. Yeah?
Is this an example of, is this story of King Pratapura, is that an example of how we should take shelter of Lord Nityananda before we get to Gauranga?
That could be said, that we want to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. We want the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, but Lord Chaitanya's other self is Nityananda Prabhu, and he is said to be even more merciful than. This was how Lord Chaitanya approached. See, not everybody wanted to surrender to Lord Chaitanya. So those who didn't want Krishna consciousness, Nityananda Prabhu went after them and he would give it to them. There's so many nice descriptions how he would go door to door and fall on the ground and with tears in his eyes beg people to chant Hare Krishna, chant the name of Gauranga. So, but we can learn from this that such a big person as a king, how he humbled himself before God and before saintly person. He forgot about his powerful position. Now we have nothing in comparison. What do we have? Right? We have some paper dollars. And we holding back. But the king, he threw himself. He was prepared to give everything. Prabhupada used to say, when you come to the spiritual master, you come with a one-way ticket. You're not going back. One-way ticket. So, text number 32. When the Lord was in South India, the famous scholars there worshipped him, and powerful kings, their ministers and family members honored and revered him. He was their crown jewel of devotion, Then, according to the custom of sannyasis, he turned homeward towards Bengal. From South India, he started going back to where he originally came from. He turned homeward towards Bengal to see his mother and his motherland and the Ganges for the last time. I sing with joy the unending glories of my golden Lord, Gaurasundar, the beautiful and divine abode of pure love. Then, so that was 32. How far are we going to? 35. So we have 3 more. Text 33. As the fame of the Lord spread far and wide, and news came of his arrival, all of Bengal, all of Bengal, proud of their Lord, prepared to receive and glorify him. Even the handful of puffed-up atheists and skeptics were ashamed of their lowliness when they saw how multitudes and other devotees who were dying due to separation from him. I sing with joy the unending glories of my golden Lord Gaurasundar, the beautiful, the divine abode of pure love. Now, text number 34. When at last he returned to his motherland, his homeland, Bengal, after 5 long years of sannyas, he was a sannyasi for 5 years, so he's like 29 years old. Millions of people rushed to see him. It's probably all of Bengal. Deeply moved, with eyes full of eagerness, they beheld their Lord, who attracts the hearts of everyone. There was a tumultuous and continuous uproar that spread in all directions and pierced the skies, as millions upon millions of voices repeatedly resounded the holy names of Hari. I sing with joy the unending glories of my golden Lord Gaurasundar, the beautiful, divine abode of pure love. And the last one, 35. After having pacified his devotees, who were heartbroken due to not being able to see their master for such a long time, 5 years, and having delivered and pardoned many sinners and miserable persons, such as Chapal Gopal, etc., he, Lord Caitanya, began to run towards Vrindavan, the abode of Krishna, with thousands and millions of people in his wake. On the way at Ramakeli, he was attracted by Srila Rupa Goswami and his elder brother Sri Sanatan, to whom he expressed feelings of love. I sing with joy the unending glories of my golden Lord Gaurasundar, the beautiful, the divine abode of pure love. You can't imagine what it was like at that time. When he came back to Bengal. When he left, he left everyone in tears. It was They were miserable. They had him in their midst, and he was every day he was going out on Sankirtan with his devotees, going all, Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes, all through the countryside, towns and village, everywhere in Bengal. So they had him for a few years, and then this was while he was a householder as Nimai Pandit. But then he just one day took sannyas and left, and they were plunged into despair. They were unhappy, and now he's coming back. It's like new life. As it's described, he rejuvenated them. But after a few days, or I don't know, a few weeks, he then left again. This time, he's going to Vrindavan. So
I just want to share. I had an experience like that. Of course, it's a very minute experience. But when Jayapataka Swami came back to Mayapur after his illness, the whole of Mayapur came to greet him. So, like, all the streets were jam-packed right in front of Sridhar Mayapur, the ISKCON gate, and you could just feel all this love and appreciation for Maharaj. So, it just reminded me of this and how we can still be experiencing Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, especially in Mayapur, where all these traces of these same activities are there.
yes, I can tell you, when Srila Prabhupada was around, Prabhupada, for 10 years, he just was constantly traveling. And once a year, he would come to the different temples. Actually, there were some temples he never even went to, but he had disciples there. And they would leave and go to a temple that he was going to. They knew he's coming, he's going there, and after the presidents of the temples, they knew of his itinerary. So they would let the rest of the devotees know, well, Prabhupada's coming to New York, such and such time, and he's only going to stay for 3 days. Well, the anticipation was incredible. And when he came, we all got lifted. Your consciousness was lifted. And then he would go. And you have to wait another year before you get to see him again, to hear him again. But we would get so much, he would rejuvenate us so much, we'd get so much juice, so much nectar from those 3 days, that sustained us for a year. That's how it was. And whenever he would come, the devotees would the whole temples, the whole community would go to the airport to greet him. And it would be, greeting Prabhupada at the airport, that was a festival. I was thinking about that how Krishna was arranging everything for his devotee to be glorified. At that time, of course, it was different than today. Since 9/11, they established so much security now that if you don't have a ticket, you cannot get far into the airport, right? They have securities and custom people, immigrate, all right, and you can't go. But when Prabhupada was around, we could go all the way to the gate. And we'd be waiting in anticipation when he would come through the door. And we would be there with madangas and kartals and a big basket full of flower petals. And as he came through, and you got a glimpse of him, it was like pandemonium, we'd go crazy. And the people would be watching, and they're wondering, who is this person? Who is this person? Look at how these followers are acting. We didn't care. And from there, from the gate all the way through the airport to the sidewalk, the devotees would litter the path for Prabhupada to walk on flower petals. And then the devotees would leave and leave the petals on the ground in the airport. And some of the workers in the airport didn't really appreciate that. And one time, I can't remember which place it was, Prabhupada had arrived, and one of the workers, he remembered from the previous year how we had left all the flower petals for him to clean up. So when Prabhupada came through, sometimes Prabhupada would sit down in a chair. You know, they have near the gates, they always have chairs for passengers waiting to take their flight. So Prabhupada would sit down, and there'd be reporters, with their microphones, and sometimes cameras. So Prabhupada would sit down, and one man, a worker in the airport, he made his way through the crowd and he came up in front, right in front of Prabhupada, and he just blurted out his grievance. He says, "You people, you come and you litter the airport with all these flowers and flower petals." He was making a complaint to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada, just with such charm, only he could do that. He looked at the man with eyes of compassion and he said, "You don't like flowers?" And the man was like, he just froze. He couldn't say anything more. He just turned around and walked out. So, but that's what it was like when, after 1 year time of not seeing him or hearing him, when he came, it was really something. So these people in Bengal, all of Bengal, 5 years had gone by. And then when the news spread that he's coming back, they were lifted. So, no, that was the, what you call, so this is text, what, 32? Yeah? 36. 35.
36.
No. 35 is the last one. 7 5s are 35.
Yeah.
So, well, we're not doing 36 now.
I'm sorry.
7 5s are 35. So now we're going to sing these 7 verses which we read.
Right?
We're starting on 29 to 35. Okay? Okay, Anand Prabhu. Sanskrit. He's setting it up, we'll chant Krishna Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rakshama, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rakshama, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Pahima, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Pahima, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshama, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahima. Okay, we're going to start with verse 29. Brahma Samhitakya Krishna Bhakti Shastra Dayakam, Brahma Samhitakya Krishna Bhakti Shastra Dayakam, Krishna Karna Siddhu Nama, Krishna Kavya Gayakam, Siddhu Nama, Krishna Kavya Gayakam, Shri Pratapa Rudra Raja Shirsha Sevya Mandiram, Shri Pratapa Rudra Raja Shirsha Sevya Mandiram, Prema Dhana Deva Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram, Madama Deva Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram. Sri Rathagra Bhakta Gita Divyanathan Adbhutam, Shri Rathagra Bhakta Gita Divyanathan Adbhutam, Yatripatra Mitra Rudra Rajaricha Matmakam, Rajaricha Madritam, Gundichara Maditattva Rupa Kavya Sancharam, Gundichara Maditattva Rupa Kavya Sancharam, Demadama Devaneva Nomi Gaura Sundaram, Demadama Devaneva Nomi Gaura Sundaram, Prema Mudha Rudra Raja Shorya Virya Vikrama, Prema Mudha Rudra Raja Shorya Virya Vikrama, Chaitanya Sarvadharma Sangama Chaitanya Sarvadharma Sangama Untitled Chapter Pada Duli Dusharam Tapasisha Pada Duli Dusharam Prema Dhana Deva Muni Gaura Sundaram Deva Suprasidha Anditoga Pujitam Bhaktinaya Suprasidha Anditoga Pujitam Krishna Raja Rajapatra Shirsha Bhakti Bhushitam Krishna Raja Rajapatra Bhakti Bhushitam Deshamatri Sheshadasan Arti Gaura Gocharam Deshamatri Sheshadasan Arti Gaura Gocharam Madama Gaura Sundaram Gaura Galvi Sarva Gouda Gaura Bhata Sajitam Gaura Galvi Sarva Gouda Gaura Bhata Sajjitam Shastra Shastra Daksha Dutta Nashtikadi Lajjitam Shastra Shastra Daksha Dutta Nashtikadi Lajjitam Muriyamana Matrikadi Deha Jiva Sancharam Yamana Matrikadi Deha Jiva Sancharam Prema Dhana Deva Muni Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Varsha Purna Janma Bhumi Darshanam Nyasa Pancha Varsha Purna Janma Bhumi Darshanam Koti Koti Lokalubha Muda Drishti Karshanam Koti Koti Lokalubha Muda Drishti Karshanam Koti Kanta Krishna Nama Mosha Bedi Tambaram Koti Kanta Krishna Nama Mosha Bedi Tambaram Prema Dhana Deva Muni Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Muni Gaura Sundaram Artha Bhakta Shoka Shanti Sapi papi pavanam Bhakta Shokha Shanti Sapi papi pavanam Laksha Koti Loka Sangha Krishna Dhamma Ravanam Laksha Koti Loka Sangha Krishna Dhamma Ravanam Rama Keli Sagra Jata Rupa Karsha Nadaram Rama Keli Sagra Jata Rupa Karsha Nadaram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Prema Dhana Deva Nomi Gaura Sundaram. So, thank you all. We've covered 35 verses now. We have another, that's 50%. We have another 35 to go. Every night, leading up to Gaur Purnima, we'll do 7 verses. Huh?
Bring your friends?
Yeah, I mean, I can't understand why we are not filled. This is nectar. You know? Temple room should be packed. Like those people in Bengal, when they heard Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was coming, they all came out. It is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. The land